Recording yet? Now I did. Okay, good. We missed all that. All right. Oh, now what happened?
How about now? How about now?
Not great. Nope.
Nothing?
It's you. Let's see if I can get this going. Oh, I hear
Okay,
you
how about
now.
now?
How about now?
Yes,
No?
but now let me see if I get my technology going. Ugh.
Are you getting me yet?
Are you getting me yet?
I am.
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
Just hold a second. Let me connect to my stupid things and see if it works. Why are we doing this?
Because it's fun.
It's fun.
Oh, right, it is. It gives me something to do. I was just out walking outside. Like, what am I going to do all day?
What can you do that
Cannot
all the
connect to
time?
Billboard. Oh, just a second. My Bluetooth. Okay, if we're going to talk about real things, let's just get right to it. My fucking I hate Bluetooth so much. I hate it. It doesn't work. You know? It just, everything wants to connect to it. I'm connected on my computer, apparently, which I don't want to do. I just want patience, please, Father. This is great material, believe me.
Great.
Great.
Now
Now
we
we
have the
have
recording
the
from
recording
Zoom
from
is on as
Zoom
well.
is
So.
on as well.
Great, perfect. That's going. I'm recording this. Let me just get this. Maybe this headphones is going to work, or maybe not. Let's try one more time.
Okay.
Okay.
How about now?
All right.
Now.
Okay.
Yes?
I
How's
Can
it
you hear
working
me?
now?
good.
I
Can you hear me?
you.
I can hear you too. That's perfect. I love that. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? What is the problem?
I'm going to. Okay, talk again.
Okay, can you hear me? Is that okay?
I can. And talk again, please.
Okay, can you hear me? Is that all right? How is this? Volume?
I'm trying to make sure that. I'm trying to discourage the bleed.
Oh, I see.
Right now, we're still.
Catch and bleed. Well, I don't know if my microphone's in the right place. Well, Jason will tell me. This first episode's gonna suck, so just get used to it. Oh, that was good.
Okay, talk now.
Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? How's that? Is that
Okay,
good?
that's it. Can you hear me?
That's it? I can hear you great.
Great. I can hear you, and there's no
Good.
bleed. How's the bleed.
Perfect.
How's the bleed on your side?
I can't tell. I have my microphone on, but let's see. I mean, talk again?
If I'm talking, can you hear it through your computer and your headset, or just your headset?
Just my headset.
Okay, perfect.
So there's a slight bleed from the headset, but that's all.
Great, because we're just trying to make sure that that doesn't happen, right?
Well, I'm gonna do my best, okay?
I'm sorry?
I said I'm gonna do my best, all right?
You know what? I think that's just, I'm going to have to adjust to that.
That's what you have to do. I'm sorry. Your options are pretty limited.
Can you turn down your mic just a little bit on the...
on
you should be able to do that on the
Zoom?
mute. On the mute button, there's an
Right.
arrow that points up, and there's some settings.
Okay. Okay, give me a second.
you
If I can
do
find the mute button.
that.
Okay, mute button. No, I'm on an Android. It might be different. It just says
You're right,
mute or
maybe.
unmute, but there must be a volume setting. Nope, that says raise my hand. I don't need to do that.
There could
Oh,
be
wait.
a volume setting on your computer itself. Is that right?
I don't. Yeah, maybe. Sure, that
On
seems
your
good.
tablet itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I turn my volume down.
I think you turn your volume a little bit down, just because I think you're high in the red.
Okay. Is that doing anything if I do that?
I think that's about good right there.
Okay, great.
We'll go forward to that.
I can barely hear you, but I guess that's gonna work.
Wait, you. Don't
No, I
turn
can
down
hear
your
you, okay.
Don't turn down the volume of the incoming, but the outgoing. Can you do that?
Oh wait, you'd think, right? I'm an adult. Incoming media, Billboard Encore system, in-call volume. In-call volume. That's probably it, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever I did before made it work, so let's go with it.
Let's just go with it. This
Thank
is
you.
so much better than what we would have done if we just tried to do it without some of these pieces, right?
Absolutely. Thank you. Everyone at home, understand. This is for the good of all mankind.
Nice.
Oh man.
Okay, so just a few things, some suggestions as we go forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that there's just three things that I think might be helpful for us to keep up. Is that in this, since we have an editor, we can just keep going, and if
Yeah.
there's something that isn't clear to either of us, we can say, hey, let's stop the conversation. We continue the recording, we stop the conversation and go back and say, now wait, what was that guy's name again? Or could we
Yeah, yeah.
start the story over again?
Okay, yeah. And I'll
Right.
lean on you. I mean, I think once I get the hang of it, I'll be better as an editor internally, but I'll lean on
Yeah.
you in the beginning to help sort of guide that.
Okay, that seems good.
Okay.
Seems really good. And also, one of the things that I do badly, and I'm trying to get better when I do these podcast sort of events, is try to make sure that that I don't do a lot of active listening. So a lot of yep,
Oh, I
yep.
see. Yeah. Right. There's no
Yeah.
need to agree. Like everyone's going to be like with it or not. Like there's no need to help them along or yourself.
Correct, and it just makes an editing problem, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, good. And secondly, if one of the things that is going to be challenging for us, especially if we actually get going like regular people, is that we will be talking over each other. Now, some of that's going to be fun, but some of it's going to be a drag. So we'll just we could just keep those three things in mind, that'd be great.
Absolutely. No, I understand. Absolutely. I'm going to turn on my robotic voice now. Let's start this conversation, Jack.
Okay, good. There's a robotic setting that you can go to. That it'll mix it for you.
I know.
It'll mix it for you. Great.
Whatever.
Fantastic. Let's go forward. There's a piece of tech that I might try later, but for now, let's just go forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. So, Stephen Hando,
Hello.
it is so nice to hear your voice again after how many years?
I don't know, how many years has it been? You took off. When did you take off to join the business?
25 years ago.
So 25 years ago, you took off. I think we saw each other maybe once, 2 years after that. I have a vague memory of seeing you, but not really connecting on like, what's up? What are you doing?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, yeah, because I think I saw you in a Scott Augustin radio play.
I'm sure.
Yeah, I
did about 1 million of them. So yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. I think I saw you in that, but I was in the stage. I mean, you were on stage and I was in the audience. So
yeah, that's a good way to go.
Yeah, I think that's the best way to actually experience you is from a distance. I mean,
like that Midler.
That's why I think you were so popular when you were in Mexico and we were here. I think maybe that explains
why everyone's turned on me now.
Yes, and I'm not sure how I found you on Instagram either. Like somehow you, I don't know how I found you on Instagram, and then started following you, and you were in Mexico even at that time.
Yeah. Can I ask you? I'm interested because I have no perception. Like I'm pretty all isolated right now, right? So yeah. I'm in my own little world, spinning, doing whatever it is that I think that I'm doing, right? I have no idea. People don't really like the stuff that I do on Facebook or Instagram. I get very few likes, but I can see that people are seeing it. And I'm very confused. I don't know what people's perception of me is or what it is that I might be doing. And why don't people like it more actively, if you know?
I don't know, because I've gone through phases of posting stuff on various platforms with a variety of, the same questions actually. Why do they like? Why do they don't? But then I think about my own browsing history and like what are the things that I like and why would I click? Why do I even though there's things that I enjoy, I don't click for a like. So
yeah, and I only ask because it gets me to the state. Like there's a lot of dancers out there, and I can tell on Instagram less because the numbers are not. I can't see how many people have seen it there usually, but on Facebook I can see like 80 people have seen it, and 4 people have liked it, which feels like okay, either I'm doing super shit work and nobody likes it, but they keep watching it for some reason, or people are watching it and not liking it for some reason. Not that I should have the expectation that people like it, in a way, like, what does it mean? But to be an artist who is isolated and you want, some feedback as to like, is this working for people? But then it got to the point where making them, I was like, well, you know what? I had to reconcile myself to just do what it is. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying it? Who are you doing it for? well, if I'm doing it for me, which I am, I can't stop doing it, then just post it and, let it be God's problem to worry about, right?
When did you start thinking that you wanted to do that? When did you start doing those? Because they're dances and they're all about the same shape. Are they usually the entire song?
No, it varies. It's varied quite a lot over the time. And so I'm a little distracted because I have to clear up some space because my phone is always running out of space. And it just gave me a little molestation. So, all right, we're done with that. Okay, so I didn't. None of it has been on purpose until before I went to Mexico. It started to be more deliberate. Or actually, I guess around COVID, the dancing started on a lark. A friend, I don't know if you know Shannon Kipp, an actress and
Whether you believe in witchcraft or
in
not,
Seattle.
we can talk
She
about
posted on
witchcraft. I
Facebook,
can be a
"Oh,
witch.
my son and I did a Friday dance today." And I thought, that's great. I'm going to do that. So I posted something and said, "Hey, Shannon, here's a challenge. I'll do a dance and you do a dance this Friday. We'll both post them." Just so you know. And this is before COVID. This is just me trying to reach out. So I do the dance and she doesn't do it. But I've done this dance in public. I do it in South Lake Union. And then I've become, are you still there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Sorry, something just went off. I became frustrated with South Lake Union and all the changes that happened in Seattle because of Amazon. And when I started my job at Seattle Cancer Care Alliance, I was spending a lot of time in that area. So I saw, you remember South Lake Union used to be all warehouses and parking, cars and then theaters as well. And now it is what is supposed to be a neighborhood, but really it's just a big campus, of buildings. And there's no children, there's no old people, there's no garbage cans. It's a very strange place to be. And so I'd already started like singing in public, just being like, if I'm singing a song, I'm going to sing it out loud. Damn it, like they're on their phone. I'm not hurting anybody. And so they're just pushing that. And then the dance became a new way to sort of just reclaim space in a way, haunt people just a little bit. Like, I'm the puck that's still the spirit of Seattle, one of the many people that are still the spirit of Seattle, So it started there, and then COVID happened, and then it took a shift,
That's cool. That's so cool. That explains the attitude that comes across in those little pieces, and it really is very much reclaiming and trying to connect with that spirit. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and I wonder sometimes, because I know I'm more deliberate about it now, and I think people are starting to get what I'm doing. But in the beginning, I was doing a series of things that were just me, like doing supermodel in the street,
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, are people following me that I'm not like saying I'm so amazing, or I'm recognizing that I'm amazing, but I'm not saying at the expense of anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, can I be out in the street and be fabulous, but not be diminishing anybody? Not saying I'm better than y'all, but like, watch me work it. Now
Yeah.
your turn, right?
Yeah,
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, and inviting people into that. That's so cool.
Right.
I don't know, way back when I was, trying to, I don't know what I was trying to do, but so I started reading, this was years ago, like I can't remember what it's called, but the Radical Fairy kind of movement, or the Radical Fairy.
Yeah, sure. I'm aware of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what that kind of hits me, because it's really, it seemed like it was guys doing whatever the hell they wanted, put on fairy wings and go into the forest and take a picture. Like, all right.
Right. Are you familiar with the Cockettes?
With the what?
The Cockettes. It was a performance group in San Francisco in the late 60s. So like the Rockettes, but like a cock, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were, Divine hung with them for a while, I believe. And they were in the Haight in 69, I think, 70, whatever, I don't know the dates, but they were doing drag with mustaches and beards, all that Radical Fairy kind of stuff, and putting on these shows. And they were all high on acid and pot, and like they would do these crazy shows, that would just go on and just like tributes to old showbiz, but they're like, crazy, screwed up, wearing these crazy outfits, and just having a ball, right?
Yeah, right.
That spirit of just being like, and women were doing drag too. There was no question, right? If you could perform, you get up there and that's drag. There was no division, straight guys, women, because it was San Francisco in that time when it must have felt like anything was possible. So you're like, yeah. And there's a story where they get picked up. A producer comes and sees them in San Francisco. performing at this little shitty whatever they were at, says, "You must be on Broadway." So it brings this whole troupe of radical, faggots and dykes and queens from San Francisco to put them on Broadway. And the curtains open apparently, and the audience is like cricket. you know, it does
And not in an outdoorsy, foresty sort of way of crickets. I mean,
no, not at all.
like
Yeah.
Times Square crickets. That's the worst kind.
Yes, for sure, because it didn't translate.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't a theater, and it wasn't in the bar or whatever. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
They were all sitting in their chairs, like watching, like entertain me. It's like, well, that's not what this is.
Yeah.
Actually, right?
No, that's cool, and I think that's the strand that you're pursuing. It seems to be. With
Yeah,
these
absolutely. So what are you doing to save the world?
Well, I'm not doing little dances, but I'm not doing a little dance. How's your little play coming? Like, oh, great. It's Othello, you asshole. So
You're skit. Anyway.
You're skit. Yeah. I joined the Jesuits because I wanted to go into religious life, but I also wanted to remain a theater worker and a theater artist.
Yeah.
And they said, sure, you can do that. And I think they were sincere at the time. However, once I got into the Jesuits, there were a lot of other things that needed to be doing. And it's been kind of uphill trying to do those two things at the same time and convince people that it's worth doing. And it's strange, but not un-American, I guess, this kind of devaluing of artists in the sense of, I work as an artist in the Jesuits, and yet I apparently, even when I'm doing things that take all of my time, it looks like I'm available to do something else.
Right.
Well,
and that there's the value.
Right. Like, what about Jack? He's available to do this. No, actually, I'm working full time. I just started a theater company because I started a bilingual theater company that did work in Washington State. And that's called Deus Ex Machina. That's what I did. And I did that for a while and then had to close it because they wanted me to go be a superior of a Jesuit high school community. And in part, if all I could do was, if I was one of those weirdos that all I could do was like sing opera, or all I can actually do is barely act, or I can act brilliantly, but I can't do anything else. But I can do a lot of things. I'm really competent. So therefore they're like, oh, well, why don't you stop that acting thing? Or they don't, my superiors are great. And the organization that I'm part of is wonderful, but they see there are things that need to be done. And so they grab me to do them. So that's why I've done a variety of things. I don't know about saving the world, but I was the vocation director for the Jesuits in the West. I went to Boise State and started a Catholic student center there, and then I've been working on this big project that I'm working on right now in the Bronx, which is kind of helping to reform how Jesuits are trained, which is fine. I mean, what do I know about reorganizing a master's program academically? Zero. What do I know about doing all the field ed sites for that, or try to understand that? Zero, maybe a little more than zero. And then what do I know about renovating two 4-story 1904 buildings to house 30 guys, which I'm doing right now? None of those are like what I'm trained to do. I'm trained to be a performer, a theater director, and a priest. But okay, but I can figure things out. So that's what they asked me to do. So as far as the theater thing, I got really involved in community based art, asking a lot of questions of who is theater for, how does it work, who can be involved, what's access about, and how do you move forward a civic needs or civic vision through art, which is, I think compelling to a lot of people, certainly to me. But as a person in the church, how do those things align? Those values really very much align. And I don't need to go into great detail, obviously, but theater and church are the same root, like, okay, you can figure it out. And prancing around in a dress up front with the microphone, that's kind of okay for an actor. And that's what I get to do, a lot of times.
Right.
The prancing's optional, but I think it's important.
It helps. It helps soften the edges, okay? You use your strategies, I'll use mine.
Whatever it takes to be popular. That's nice.
That's right. That's right. I would be the most popular Jesuit priest. Um,
Ever.
ever. The sexiest one too. Um, and that's actually so the transition from doing theater. What was your background in the church? That it would never occur to me to be like, you know what I'm going to do. It might now, but at the time. So, what is your background that led you to go this, or what was the crisis moment, or the moment that made you go, this is the choice I'm going to make, and this is why?
There wasn't a crisis moment. I had always been in the theater as I could. I grew up on a ranch out in the middle of nowhere, and then went to a very small, sports obsessed to the degree they could be, a very small Oregon State school, like a public school, in a very small town in Eastern Oregon, and the theater department there worked as the community theater for a town of 2,000. So you know you do Hello Dolly, and everybody would be in it. So,
No,
um,
right.
and even as a freshman, I was like, "That's it. The theater people are my people. That's who I am. That's it. I love it." And I wanted to do that even in grade school, but there wasn't opportunity to do that, other than forcing my brothers to do plays in the basement, um, eh,
You
which
didn't?
which I did.
Of course you did. Let's do it again. From the top. Come on.
It was
Do
more
your
like
prayer.
it was more like dramatizations of sort of a vaguely Western comic strip called Tumbleweeds. So it was like,
Oh.
okay, here we go. So
That's awesome. Did you wear outfits too?
it was awesome. Yeah, there were outfits. I may have, in retrospect, I may have peaked too early, because that may have been really the top. But you can only do it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't want to say that, but I thought that might be true. Based on my experience in working with you.
If I can find those scripts, I think maybe.
Please, let's take the time right now for you to look for them.
When I think about it in my mind, what I think about is like a couch and some sheets that were involved, I think,
Oh,
and
cool.
there was, I think, a pan from the kitchen. I'm not sure what. I think they may have been hunkered around a fire at one point downstairs. I don't know. The setting was important. And then in high school, this group was going on, and I was like, that's it, I'm in. And for me, folded into that was trying to find a place to be in a school. For a lot of us,
Of course, yeah.
we might be a little bit different, or the whole gay thing is whatever, but there might be a little, you might just not fit in. And I was the next line of brothers that we went to that school. And I wouldn't say my brothers were super jocks, but they did sports and that sort of thing. But we were on the ranch a lot as well, so back and forth. But I didn't feel compelled to do sports at all, and my family did not make it an expectation like, well, you're a boy, you're doing football, as some families do. None of that. But I got really involved in the theater right away, and really found a home with all the freaks. So, and you,
So
did you have that same thing?
No, so if we talk about just the beginning, for me, for theater, I remember as a kid, I didn't watch theater growing up. I wasn't really fascinated by it. I never went to musicals and all that stuff, right? But as a kid, I was in two plays that I remember. One where I played the robot that ruined Christmas, which makes sense, and and some other play I can't remember, but nothing major. But I would be at home doing like Donna Summers. She works hard for her money with my vacuum cleaner, and my friend Tiffany and I acting out Thriller, just that kind of thing, which probably all kids do. But I remember very clearly having that vacuum cleaner and just being like, she works hard for her money. I might have put something on my head. I might have put a rag or something on my head, as cleaners do, and in no way trying to emulate anything other than just a working class person.
And this was in Canada. Did this stand out in Canada?
Yeah, this is in Canada. This is in Canada. So this is a little town in Canada, Alliston, Ontario, that I grew up in. I was there till I was 14, and I moved to the United States. But up until that time, I was in this small. We were 3 hours from Toronto. A McDonald's was like, we're going to the mall, and we'll get the mall in Barrie, which was an hour and a half away. And when we go to the mall in Barrie, we'll swing by McDonald's as a treat. Right?
Yeah.
There was no McDonald's in town. We had a KFC. That was it. A Dairy Queen too.
Right.
Yeah. Small town. So I was just like, we'd play out in the fields. We'd make mazes in the corn. Back in the good old days. I mean, that's not it, but there's truth to it, right? the sense of like we had to make our own fun. We had to imagine together what are we going to do, you know? And so you figure it out and you make enchanted spaces where they weren't before, you know?
Yeah. Did you have siblings as well?
I had a brother. Have a brother who's 3 years older than I am. But growing up, and I shouldn't speak of his life too much. But growing up, we weren't. I never. I love my brother. I've always loved him. But we weren't close growing up. We had two different paths as far as in high school.
Yeah.
Let's say he was more Wayne's World than I was. You know, I was a little more on the straight and narrow, and he was, you know, let's say that character is somewhere, you know, ish.
And you went to high school in the States though?
And then I went to high school in Florida, yeah, in Palm Bay High School, which was in Melbourne, Florida. And I was there for 4 years. My dad just moved the family. When I was 14, he got a job, not just, but like he was offered I think a much better job at this place in Florida with Collins Radionics, where he worked for. So he took it and moved us all there. And my memory, it's like one day I was in Canada, the next day I was in the United States, and that's sort of how my life is. I don't remember being particularly traumatized by it. I was like, oh, that's the ocean. You know? I'm in Florida now. And so I went to high school there, I just adjusted, and then went to Florida State University. And in high school, I had a girlfriend, and she took me to an audition for this play called Our Girls, which was a 50s play about this mother and father who have 3 boys, but lies to the English aunt saying they're girls so they can get the fortune. But then the aunt comes, so all the boys have to dress up as girls, right?
Right.
So I auditioned for one of those roles, and I got one of those roles, and my girlfriend didn't, and that was the beginning of everything.
It was the beginning of the end for that relationship, because I know
For
when
sure.
someone's career takes off.
That's right. Because I was there on a lark. I was like, you're going to audition? I was like, yeah, I'll throw in an audition. I mean, I probably wasn't that cavalier, but I wasn't about being there, you know? But it happened. And then the next thing was Guys and Dolls, and I was playing Nice and Nice. No, who's the Frank Sinatra, whatever. Not Nice and Nice, whatever that is.
Because Nice and Nice is the guy with a big song, and usually he's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
heavy. Yeah.
Yeah, not him, but I was the Frank Sinatra role, obviously.
Yeah. Well,
And suddenly I'm in a musical, and I've never seen a musical before. Really? I wasn't fascinated by them. They didn't never have any enchantment for me, but I could do it. And I was like, okay, all right, let's do it. You know? It's sort of like how dancing has been. Like, I can dance. Oh, I guess I can. All right, let's do it.
why not? And
Yeah.
do you identify yourself as a dancer at the moment, or
No, never.
No, you're someone who dances around. But when you went
Yeah.
when you went into college, did you go into the theater track or a dance track or
Yep.
performance or what?
Yeah, I went into theater track. So in high school, I was like a high school musical guy, but I wanted to be a serious actor because of some teachers I had and some great friends that I had. So I was very serious about being a serious actor. And I went to Florida State University and auditioned for their BFA acting program. And the head of the program came to me. I went up to him afterwards. I was like, oh my goodness. And he's like, well, you know, you should audition for our music theater program. And I was like, I'll show you. So I just dug in and got into the BA acting program and just studied and really just wanted to be an actor. So music theater, I sort of like turned my back on it at that point.
Sure.
So I took the requisite dance, you know, like a ballet class at 7 a.m. that I would occasionally skip, and a jazz dance class, and movement, whatever that is in theater, where you're like, let's do the seasons. And I would always, like everyone does, make it up as I was doing it. Right? Here's what I choreographed. This is fall. It's just spring. Oh, you know, like just totally winging it as I was going. One time she asked me to do it again, and I was like, nope. Let's go for it. Look at my face.
Sorry, lady.
So,
if you missed it, you missed it.
Right? Art is ephemeral. What do you not understand about art? Wow. I'm not a machine. Billie Holiday would say, you do it again. You know?
I find choreography. I was always someone who danced, and I even danced in college.
Professional? I mean, like took classes when you say dance? Or?
Yeah, with a ballet company that was
Okay.
at a small college. I went to school in Spokane at Gonzaga, and there was Whitworth, which is a Christian college up the street, way up the street, had a ballet program that I started, that I was in, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the training and all the rest. But you know, trying to keep choreography in my mind, good lord.
Yeah, that's what held me back. I mean, I've done dances. I did dance at different places in town and worked with choreographers, but I always felt like a phony.
Mhm.
Like these modern dancers would ask me, Laura Curry or my friend Juliette Waller, for example, to do a piece with them, and I always felt like I'm just faking it. And I would be like, oh, the choreography, and I was working so hard at it, which is
Yeah.
like the opposite of what you have to do in dance, right? It has to be effortless. And
Yeah,
I didn't
well,
have the training, and I didn't trust myself to know if I free form, that'd be great. But I think like spin, spin, 1, 2, 3, and I'd be like, not that great, right?
yeah. I'm more of an actor that can move,
Yeah,
sort of, or
yeah.
I was. But you know, I got into directing towards the end of before I joined the Jesuits, and then continued more. I did a little bit of acting, but continued more because I went to college as an actor, and that's what my degree was in acting. To the degree that Gonzaga had an acting program, it's more of a
Theater.
just a solid liberal arts college that has some theater,
Yeah,
and now they have this huge, gorgeous space and all the rest. But at the time, it was not very fancy, and you could finish your degree requirements pretty quickly. So I did another degree at the same time because you're like, well, I got a lot of time.
I've got time. What am I gonna do?
but the upside was I got to act all the time,
Yeah,
because it was a small program. So you're like, okay, there's 3 plays a year. I'm in all of them. All right, here we go.
right.
So that and I remember having a friend that went to Catholic U at the same time, and she got to do like one role as a second semester senior, just because it was that kind of program. It was really tough.
I'll say when I went, so since I come to Seattle, I mean, I've never gone after the big houses. But even when I was in Florida State University, I got into the BFA program eventually, but they said I had to audition for all the main stage shows. And I was like, no, I'm doing this show over at Yanni's, the coffee shop across the street. We're doing Titanic by Christopher Durant. So that's what I'm doing. So if you're going to make me be in your main stage program, and the main stage audition, I'm out.
Yeah.
And I quit the program because that's always been who I've been. I'm like, I'm just going to, not consciously, like I feel like I'm so great. I just want to do it. It seems fun. Let's do it in a coffee shop. Let's do it in a bar. You can. Well, let's do it.
Yeah, I think I admire that and there's all that theater that has nothing to do with the big,
Right.
regional theater. I was listening
So
to
much.
a conference last night, the online conference through Playwrights Horizon with a bunch of theater makers, and just the really coming into question again, like, will this pandemic, the COVID stop, the big gap that everyone's experienced, will it really challenge the regional houses, never mind the commercial houses, the regional houses, to either break them, and then we actually get a regional theater that's actually nonprofit, that actually belongs to the people, not the board of directors, all those things that it could be, and it betrayed what it was built to do.
No, absolutely, I agree. And I mean, I don't know. I haven't been in connection with the big houses in town in Seattle, so I can't speak specifically to what the situation is with any of them. But I definitely felt beforehand and before I left, and I was more engaged. Like they were trying to reach out to the smaller houses, but it's just like, guys, there's all these great people here doing all this interesting work, and some people would reach across the aisle, but you're bringing in artistic directors from out of the city who have to like learn who everybody is, who aren't going to take the time to really know who's good and who's got their shit together. And they're coming in, they're bringing their friends in to do their shows, and it's like, well, you're making like little chamber pieces for an audience, but it's going to get smaller and smaller because really nobody gives a shit anymore about a play. You know what I mean? The value of going to see a play in and of itself, no one's going to give a shit anymore.
No one cares. No one cares.
That's okay.
Yeah, it's a play. It's like someone used to describe it to me. Becoming a theater worker is like learning how to make a good buggy whip. Never mind, no one drives buggies anymore. But
right.
Okay, I'm ready.
I'm ready. Are you looking at my buggy whip? How beautiful it is? Do you know how many hours it took? I don't know, and I don't care.
Here, hold it. No. What do you mean? What do you mean? What is it? It's all obvious. No. It's like a production of Hamlet in February in a mid-sized town.
Right. Who wants to go? I don't. I don't want to go see theater most of the time. Most of the time, and that's been like the great thing about 2020 and a bit is you're like, well, I could go, say that I'm at those performance, and I'm watching it on YouTube, and I can walk away and make dinner and do something else, and have supported them. You know, because
Well,
mostly,
yeah, perfect.
mostly I'm just like, ugh. And then those things, I never know what it's going to be, but like sometimes plays can be great, but sometimes people are hewing to what the play was, the value the play had in the moment that it came out, and not reconsidering, well, yeah, Street Fighter is that's not a great example, but you might be like, oh, well, yeah, a lot of those things were what they were pushing at the time. He was pushing on boundaries, and people were shocked about things, and now we're a little more like, meh. But he was pushing and pushing, so there's value in that. But that doesn't mean a Street Fighter Desire, I mean, it is going to be great. Some other play that's shitty is going to be worth doing, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, the value of it was in the moment. If you can find a way into it and use it, great. Look at what it means. What does it mean now? Because you can't ignore history or the fact that people walking and sitting down, much as you might like to say, well, no, this was written in 1930, so, well, they're not going to necessarily do that calculation. So help them with that calculation if that's what you're going to do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Otherwise, you really have to be like an interpretive center. Hold on just a second. I need to walk
Yeah.
away. I'll be right back because I have to
All right, I'll be right back.
turn something down on the stove, as a matter of fact.
Oh my God.
That's the nice thing about editing. We can just do this.
It's like it never happened. Can I ask you a question while we're stopped?
Yeah.
Does it seem appropriate? I'm conscious of not, we will get used to it, right? Not laughing as much, you know, and not interrupting, and because I got to catch myself like, yeah. Because I want you to know that I'm listening and that I'm interested. But I guess we can just both assume that we're interested and move forward from there.
Correct. That's the active listening piece that's hard for me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
I guess maybe it would be good to watch you actually, because can you see me? Maybe that would be more helpful. I don't know, because I'm feeling a disconnect with you because I can't. I mean, I know you're interested, but you get like into a story and you're like, oh my God, should I wrap this story up now? Like, how am I doing?
Yeah, because we're built to hear those cues, like keep talking cues, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see if this works, but I'm not gonna look at myself, so don't worry about it.
It's nice to see you. Yeah. So what I think your initial question was like, how did I get?
Right.
Did I always want to do that? And I think the theater thing I always wanted to do, and the priest thing was kind of always there too. You know, trying to figure that out. Like, and I remember certainly through high school and through college, I was really trying to sort out at the same time, trying to figure out how to be a theater artist, but also what was this priest thing, and wrapped in it was being gay or not. You know, it was it was all kind of wrapped up in it at the same time. And so because in high school there were several of my friends were figuring out being gay, in part because they were part of the theater crowd, but maybe that was all came together as a package, you know, just show, and trying to sort all that out. And I had close friends who were, you know, sexually active and trying to figure that out. I was not, because I was very clear that I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know that it wasn't the life I wanted. And yet I was attracted to guys, and you know, just trying to, it's very typical to me. It is very typical. And so I went out to college, and I was still struggling with that through entirety of college, trying to sort that out, and being really aware that for Catholic boys that, you know, you can circumvent the question by becoming a priest. And not because I have a oppressively Catholic family. I don't. I have a Catholic family, but we're out in the middle of nowhere, and my mother wasn't Catholic. She became Catholic. So she wasn't, you know, she wasn't full on Catholic indoctrination with the mother's milk. It wasn't that the case. And
right.
and some guys have an experience with super strong Irish Catholic mothers or Italian Catholic mothers who like carry all this stuff. And my mom didn't, which is nice.
Right.
So anyway, but I could see that those options of you either get a girlfriend, get married, have kids, like all my brothers were doing, or you can become a priest.
Right.
Those are the two options, right? And there wasn't any other way to see a future going forward, And so my friends and I were trying to figure all that out, and most of my friends were not in a Catholic setting, so they were looking at different things. But I was luckily, and I feel really blessed in this, really aware that to become a priest for that reason is the worst reason, and an unsustainable reason, and really just miserable. So even though I wanted to become a priest, I had this other thing that I was trying to sort out all the time, like how to be a gay man, and that took I came out to my parents, I kind of came out to my family, I did all these sorts of things to try to see if the priest thing was still there or what the hell was going on. And then I had this experience. I was working as a garden designer and doing theater at the same time. And this was about the time we were doing Morning Becomes Electra, actually, around that same time.
93?
Yeah, 93, 94, right in there. And because it was a very full time, because I was doing Morning Becomes Electra and directing Peer Gynt at the same time at Annex. So I was doing afternoon rehearsals and then doing Morning Becomes Electra and really having a wonderful time doing all of it, right?
Yeah.
And really feeling clear that this is a path that I could really pursue fruitfully. And I don't mean go to Broadway and make lots of money, but really be a theater artist and be a theater worker. And I was like, okay, this is really working for me. I love it. And I felt I had a big community, and I was living with people I loved. I was dating, and that was going well. And then I was out at a plant sale, I think on Bainbridge. Kind of a small plant sale, kind of a specialty thing where they just opened up one day or whatever. So I show up and I'm buying plants for clients, and this big Range Rover, Land Rover drives up, and in it are two big golden retrievers in the back, and these two great looking guys who I had seen before out or whatever, as a couple. They kind of leap out, and we start talking. We don't know each other particularly well, and they were like, "Oh yeah, Brandon," or whatever the husband's name or boyfriend's name. Brandon and I are going to go to New Zealand for a month for vacation this year, blah 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 blah. And they just bought a new house in Queen Anne, blah blah. And I was like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
That is not enough for me. I don't want that.
No.
I don't want that. And I was continuing to read Thomas Merton, who is a Catholic monk. And I thought, I want more of that. And became really taken by the size of religious life or becoming a priest. I was like, yeah, that's what I want. So there wasn't a crisis point, but there was doors were able to be opened by not crossing things off, but just maturing into the questions better and really saying, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. And I was never one of those gay guys who left the church like, yeah, I hate you all. I just kind of continued to do it and not make reservations, but just adjust within myself, but also adjust or come to terms or to understand God and the church and the whole thing as large enough, just in some sort of fundamental way for me, And I remember clearly thinking, if the Pope doesn't like gay people in the church, he's welcome to leave the church, because it's my church just as much as it's his.
Okay.
I was really lucky to be able to say that and be able to I'm going to continue to stay. So
and to believe it, to not just state it, but to know fundamentally in your being that was true. That is just the truth of religious life. It's like, no, you know what, between me and God, like really. So we can work together.
Yeah, really. And over the years, this question obviously continues to, simmer and sort itself out. And what's the church on sexual issues, and what's the level of hypocrisy within the church structure around, what the church structure rewards as far as closeted behavior, and that's been super interesting to me. And I joined the Jesuits, and the church clearly out. And I was even in conversations with Jesuits at Seattle University about, whether I wanted to join the Jesuits or not. And the guy that I was seeing for spiritual direction, and another Jesuit, they came and saw Morning Becomes Electra, and the stuff they brought into the show was it going to be any good or not? Not
Right. Yeah.
Not that the guy that's looking to be a priest is prancing around in high heels and 2 wigs and very little else, I was like, and they were like, you were fantastic. And I was like, well, this is my kind of group,
Yeah.
that is big, large-minded enough to say, well, the question is the art any good?
Yeah.
Or is it achieving what it wants to do? Or did we have a good time? Or what's going on? This seems interesting.
Yeah. Right, totally. It's not an attack on you in any way. It's just a thing, and you enjoy it or you don't, and you walk away. Like, that was my 2 hours. Next time I won't, or I will. Like it's up to you.
Exactly. So that's how I joined, and that's how I was encouraged to join. And I just celebrated 25 years this last August, and that was interesting to figure out, and did I make the right choice or the wrong choice, or here I am, I don't have a dog, those sorts of things.
What?
I don't have a dog.
You don't have dogs as a Jesuit?
No.
What?
I know, that's the stuff they don't tell you. Because I live in community, so it's hard to have.
Boo. That's just a stupid community thing.
Celibacy is one thing. Not having a dog.
Not having a dog. Come on, are you human? I am human.
Prick me, do I not bleed?
Ow! Well, I did, obviously. No, I have issues with my veins there. Oh, God. Not bleeding at all. Is that a problem?
Sorry. That's the not so short answer to that.
No, that's great, and it's such a deep topic. I'm like trying to decide. Obviously, it's a deep topic. What is interesting to me is such a base thing. It is deciding that you're you're gay and going to be a priest. Celibacy is the first thing that comes to people's mind, right? I mean, a base person like myself. I was like, he's giving up sex, really? I go, and I understand more now what that is, at least what I think it might be, as far as offering that up. You know what I mean? I don't know. I should let you speak to it, because I can only imagine. What does it mean to you to take that vow? And then the large question: how do you deal with it?
Oh, that's the celibacy thing is that I had gone back and forth on celibacy for some time prior to actually joining the Jesuits, mainly because I was either having sex or not having sex, or trying to figure out, like, is the bathhouse thing for me? Is that what gay men do, or what about like the casual sex? I don't know. Because like some guys, or at least like this one, I'm never the kind of person that finds myself in the middle of some orgy and wonder, oh gosh, how did I get here? Like, I always know exactly how I get.
Right.
Where.
Okay. Good. You're not like that person. Like,
No,
oh
I'm
my
not.
goodness! It's like somehow drifted into this horrible scene. Come on, sister. How'd you get here, please? No one dragged you through that door, and your pants were out faster than I could have taken them off.
Exactly. So I'm just not that person. So I was still trying to figure out, like, is this who I am, and this is how I fit in, and and all the rest. And the whole getting married and having kids, or getting partnered up and having kids, was really just kind of emerging as a possibility, because I still remember meeting guys who had been together for 10 or 12 years, my friends Glenn and Charles, and just being amazed, like, you guys have been together for like a decade? What? Just because there were so few role models of that
Yeah, for
at
sure.
that time.
Absolutely.
And it seems like, oh, that was only 25 years ago. Yeah, it was only 25 years ago. Yeah,
Right,
you're right.
that's right.
You're right.
That's right.
And
And I will tell you, go
and I think now, I would make different choices. I don't know if I'd make this choice or not, but I would make different choices if I was actually raised in a situation where, as a teenager, you begin to think about, like, what's next for me? And you're like, well, you could actually get married to a guy and have a family and do your thing. And that's super attractive, but was not a possibility.
I don't think I've been recording. Oh, no, I am. I think it stopped recording. This is technology. It's going to be what it is.
It is, and we'll get better at it.
Yeah,
Because
anyway.
because I had to take a break from record. I took, unfortunately, a break from recording early in the call too. So we'll go forward, and once we submit this stuff, we'll see what to do better next time. So it's not a big deal.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because you know what? It's our thing, so it's going to be
right.
whatever we need it to be.
Crazy. It's gonna be wow. You don't even know the quality is shit sometimes. We love it. It's so real. It's just real.
Yeah.
I'm all about realness because it's easier.
Yeah.
So it's real.
I'm just all about realness now.
That's right. 100%. Actually, I'm actually 100% the opposite of realness right now. And this is true. Because a part of this is big stuff. What I learned going over to Mexico was the value of a mystical state, right? Because Mexicans take religion, and it's very different over there. The way they approach it, the way that it exists in their lives, right? And I think, and you see a lot of, there are temples everywhere, little temples everywhere to Mary or Jesus, or to the Death Mary, like the cult of the Death. I don't know what it means, but there's a connection to a mystical sense where you can know it's not real and also believe it's real at the same time, or you can just live in a state of like, well, there's an imperfect knowledge of what God is, there's an imperfect knowledge of what religion is, and however you get to it, the important thing is to have a mystical sense of life. Whether you believe in witchcraft or not, we can talk about witchcraft. I can be a witch and something can change. And we can both know it's a bit of bullshit, but also it's a bit real, because there's a magic thing beyond ourselves we just don't know. And we're all reaching for that ineffable, why are we here? What is our essence?
Mm-hmm.
So there's what we can practically explain. And it's part of why I think dance became a medium for a lot of people in 2020. Because it was beyond words. No one knew what was going to happen. What is the future? Is there a future? How are we going to change? But we all still have these things that are basically true. And I was trying to get to what is really true.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What can strip away, nothing, anything can be. We don't know what the world's going to look like. So what is truth? You know? So then religion, opening yourself up to that possibility of just like communion that is beyond what you can understand or explain. And it's part of what I came to understand. And so now as I'm doing these dances, I'm hearing these songs by people like David Bowie, who created worlds and created characters, and listening to what he's saying and saying like, oh, there's value maybe in right now, giving in a little bit to this idea like you're a magical creature. Because you have to believe you can do things you don't think you can do. But you can. But let's pretend you're a magical creature. And that's going to allow you to do what you need to do because you'll have the faith that you can do it. Right? So I'm exploring that in pieces now where I'm doing like David Bowie's Starman. I've done it like 5 times. So it's just like, there's a Starman waiting for us. Here's it. Here's it. And I don't know. But he's got a message. What's the message? Let the children boogie. Right? Did you hear him? I heard him too. Don't tell Dad. Just pretend. Whatever. That allows that secret that allows them to become magical, that allows them to change and become bigger than they think they can be. You know, that's the way I'm coming at it. And that's what I think religion and art, all of it is sort of about saying, first of all, I understand you in some way. Something you think is crazy is not crazy because here it is, too.
Mhm.
And look at me be the king. I believe I'm the king. I act in every way as though I am the king. I'm not the king. I'm just an actor. But for me to do it well, I have to believe I could be the king. And you can too. Right?
Yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
the magic of it.
Yeah, and that what you've just said is complicated, and there's so many levels to it, and it's something that changes all the time, and going forward. But the possibility of the mystic or the mythical or the what the Irish would say, like a thin place where
Yeah, right.
between our reality and the rest of reality,
Yeah.
all those things are they're pointing us towards something that's larger than ourselves, and how much humility it takes to entertain that that's a possibility,
Right. Absolutely.
rather
You find it
than
in all.
my reality is the reality. And you could see that, for me, you could see that with the COVID thing of,
Mhm.
I found so many people were not interested in the panic, which is probably good, but not interested in the sorrow because no one they knew was sick. Well, I don't know anybody who's sick. It obviously doesn't
Right.
happen. No one
Yeah.
I know has died. Then how bad
Right.
can it be? Well, wait a
Right.
second. Did you see how many deaths? Well, those deaths don't really count because, and that's
Statistically,
fear maintaining your reality because you're scared of something larger.
yes, that's absolutely true. And the big thing that I learned stepping outside of the United States and going to Mexico for 3 months and really immersing myself in, I'm going to move here. I realized quickly the American mindset is insane. And you don't know it because you're in it. And the things we accept to be true, when you step outside of it, like everyone says, oh, I go to Europe and I just feel so much better there. And then I come home and I feel shitty. It's like, well, maybe there's a reason why it's not just taking a vacation that was good for you. Maybe
It
the
was
way,
perspective.
right. And maybe the way that people are treated, nowhere's perfect. But maybe other people are doing things in a fundamentally different way in the way they treat people or they act in public, or the children can play in the dangerous area. And you know what? If they get hurt, they get hurt. And maybe there's something okay about that because we never, right? And that's why it feels relieving. And capitalism, if we're going to get to it.
And another thing.
And behind this curtain, but I think it's connected, right? Capitalism, I think, is the engine that drives the dream of America that says, you're not enough. You need this. You'll never be enough. You'll never be enough. And anyone who's coming at you, there's this much pie. You can get it. There's only this much. So if they're coming, they want a piece of that pie, and there's not enough for everybody. So you better stop that.
Yeah. Yeah. And the way to make sure that the maximum amount of dis-ease or discomfort among the largest number of people that capitalism does, which is you're poor, everyone around you super poor. If you actually work together, you could change things. But the lie you would rather believe is that if you strive hard enough, you can have the next level.
That's right. That's
And
right.
then there's only enough in that level for you. So
right.
so many of these families, poor families, they will never actually get out of it.
Never.
They will never. They're born there. And in America, the race thing, please, trying to actually move forward. Like, oh my gosh.
Right. And other people could speak to that a lot better, I think, than I can. But I do understand the fundamental idea. Like the game is rigged. Some people start, like at go, and some people start about 20 spaces behind go and $2,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Good luck, everybody. And so fundamentally, the game is unfair. So of course, if you're playing a game, you cannot choose not to play the game. It's very difficult not to play the game. So you're playing the game. You'll never win. You figure that out. You go, well, I'm going to cheat.
What other options do you have?
what other options do you have? I will sit in my misery. I will work and say and swallow my bile because I know that the value of my labor is more than the value of you being born owning that building. But it isn't.
Yeah.
Somehow. So actually going and busting myself out of my mindset. And I had somebody there, my lover who was there, who would constantly like ride me. And he would say the best thing to me, you're just like every other American. And I'd be like, oh, I am not. And so I would really have to investigate what it was, you know what I mean, what he meant. And like try to prove him. Sometimes he was right, sometimes he was wrong, right? Sometimes he was making assumptions about me and my intentions. And sometimes I was making a joke, right? And he's like, oh, I'm like, no, but sometimes he's right. And I'm like, wow, I did not even see the privilege that I have, or like the assumptions that I'm making, the selfishness that I'm displaying, because I'm making assumptions
Yeah.
that I don't even know I'm making, right?
No, that's huge. And I hope I know that we'll have a chance to talk about the whole Mexico chapter. That would be great.
Of course.
But we should probably wrap this particular session up
Yeah,
because
I
we're
think
at
so.
about
I'm
an hour.
exhausted.
I'm exhausted. I need to get my,
I'm bored.
my trailer, after my trailer. So what we might as well just record this while we're going. Some observations or things that came to you about the process or the structure that we're using, or
Are we
topics?
off mic now? Are we talking?
No,
Just talking you and I?
we'll stay on mic because who knows?
Okay, but I mean, but we're just talking now. We can be a little
Yeah,
more
we're
loose.
just talking now. Yeah.
So for me, I prefer, like, I don't like watching you actually because I become aware of myself. I'm not listening. I'm not actively listening, actually, in that case, because I'm sort of watching and guessing what your responses might be. I'm like, I might, whatever, you know, I'm picking my nose. I'm like, you think I'm interested? So there's not like a looseness. And also, I can tell the difference. I just have to gauge after this first one between active listening. Hey,
Is that
that's
easier?
rude.
Is that
No,
easier?
not, I hate that picture. I told you. No, the difference between active listening, like I can understand and modulate, like not like all the time. Like I get that. But part of our charm is the way we break each other up, and we have to. And I know I have my proclivity is to interrupt with tangents, so I'm trying to be good about that. But some of it's fun. So like managing having a conversation and also being who we are, which is like, how did we get here? You know, like, why are we talking about French, bulldogs in New Guinea? I don't know, but it's funny though. Anyway,
Yeah.
I didn't feel the freedom to spiral that way. And it's just finding that balance because it can't just be like the Nut Show, but
We're not NPR either. Yeah.
right, we're not
Not a
NPR
fucking
either.
TED Talk. Yeah.
That's right. Like, no one needs me to tell them about capitalism, really. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what I'm here to do. I get it now, and what I'm here to do is be the satirist, you know, be the puck, be the whoever who comes in and says like, it's stupid, I'm stupid, I'm crazy, yeah! You know, like, and just be funny or whatever, right? Just to be like, I'm not standing out from the grocery store with a petition and a picture. Did you know capitalism was bad, ma'am? Ma'am? All right.
Wait, what? Great. So,
hey, what's the language, ma'am? Give a child.
I think that's good. I'm going to try a different headset just to see if that's helpful for us. Hold on.
Okay, I guess I should try. Maybe I should too. Because I find these very isolating. Let me go the other way. Is this working now? Oh, God. Oh, look at you. Can you hear me? Can I hear you?
That's right.
Hello?
Hold on. Oh.
Yeah, hold on. I'm sorry. I'm being impatient.
Okay.
Okay. Wow. You're going to sound great, and I'm going to sound like Dickie John out here in the boonies, like calling in from Florida.
How's that sound to
You fucker. You fucker, you sound great.
you? I know I'm going to sound great. I'm sorry that you do sound like a man, not on the street, but face down on the street.
That's my thing. That's my brand.
That's totally you. So we
This is
will
such a mess up.
we will be back in 5. We will.
You love hearing the sound of your own voice. Someone's like, Jeff doesn't need as much attention as we do. I was like, oh, try talking to him. Yes, he does.
It's so
That's what Chip's so upset about you.
Okay, just speak normally. You know what I mean?
So you're going to become enamored with your own voice, and you're going to be as bad as all of them. You're just going to be listening to yourself talk.
Okay, let's get back to this.
That's an interesting point, Stephen. I was saying earlier how.
Hey, can you mute yourself? Great.
You know what's really annoying to me when you're talking? So,
I think you know what's wrong.
Maybe self-censoring could help this. Don't make me bring the head down. Okay? Let's see if we can fix it this time too.
You know the active listening thing that was a problem? I think the active talking is the problem.
Oh, wow.
Talking. Okay, so that's perfect. People, you can't see him, but he's got his hand over his mouth. He's using his hand. Okay, so this will give Jason a chance to see if these are actually two different levels that aren't very interesting.
Yeah, totally. Okay. So I think the Zoom call, I think next time, my phone is just a mess. I have to clear it out, make sure that there's enough storage space, because I don't think what I have is going to be useful at all. I'll see what came out of it, but I doubt. I'll send what I have. So
okay,
it's going to probably be a call at this point, and we'll figure this out.
And then we'll know.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And then we'll be in touch about scheduling the next hour.
Yeah. And let's maybe, the weekend, early next week, once Jason has had a chance to sort of, whenever, it's up to him actually, when he's got the material and says like, here's tips, this is this, whatever. Here's something about structure.
Great. One other thing that might be useful just to keep in your mind is that if you have a composer friend that is kind of set to do a little bit of intro, outro music for us, that's great. I do have a friend who did my last one, my only podcast, and could use him. But if there's someone you have in mind, we can use that as well. Because it's just easier to have composed music, because then you don't have to do the rights on that crap.
Of course. I know some people, some Canadian artists, Anne Murray, not a friend, but I'll talk to her.
Okay, see what's possible, and then we'll maybe get that in the process.
No, that sounds great. Yeah, I actually do know people like Sean Nelson, Rick Miller. There's a lot of people that are musicians here in town that I could hit up. They're like really great. Just be like, hey. I think once we've had Jason a chance to figure out like this is the tone, just like go to a musician and say like, we want an opening that is iconoclastic, is zingy, is funny, is whatever. Like once we figure out what it's just zingy 70s or 40s, 50s, New York.
And what is it? Yeah. Okay, good. Great. So we'll be in touch about a new time the next time.
Perfect. I'll be looking for those messages. I was so nervous this time beforehand. Just wandering around like technology makes me anxious.
Oh, I know, right?
It does. It's not, we live in a future that is so imperfect. It tries to pretend like it's all more complicated. It might be easier, and the kids there's no instructions for anything. The kids all know what to do. Nothing comes with instructions. So you're like, I didn't know my phone was doing that. I don't know what to do. I was going to call, not to be grandpa, but it's just like, it doesn't need to be that complicated. I didn't need a Galaxy S10.
No.
What do I need that for, right?
Right, and it's just
that's why I let the taxi driver take it.
And a sense of adventure with tech, like, okay, it may or may not work.
Yeah, I know. That's right. I have to be forgiving with myself and just be like, Steven, you know what? It may be tied to your, post-traumatic stress disorder, but you got to get over it.
Precisely. Good. So we'll be in touch. And thank you so much for doing this.
It's great. I think it's exciting. I think it'll be really fun to keep going.
Excellent. Bye.
Okay, bye. Oh, shit. I don't know.